Hey friends, today I want to read a book about one of the most important creatures on the planet, the bee, which is called Apis mellifera. So this is called by Candace Fleming, Eric Rohmann, Honeybee, The Busy Life of Apis mellifera. You might not realize it, but without bees, our world would be in a catastrophic position because the bees pollinate all of our food, basically. Not all of it, but a lot of it. So I thought it'd be important to read about it. One summer morning, deep in the nest, a brand new honeybee squirms, pushes, chews through the wax cap of her solitary cell and into a teeming, trembling flurry. Look at that busy hive. Tongues lick, antennae touch, bodies clamber and scramble over thin wax comb. The new bee rests, soft, fuzzy, and female, like all newly emerged worker bees. Her scientific name is Apis mellifera, or Apis for short. Crawling to a cell packed with sticky, rich pollen, Apis eats and eats and eats some more. Her wings dry, her color darkens to a warm yellow-orange, and her muscles grow strong. Strong enough for flying? It's amazing that such a small creature can have such a huge impact on our Earth. And you know, things like the toxins we spray on plants and the toxins we put in water and in the air will kill these bees, and that is catastrophic for our life. Not yet. Cleaning comes first. Apis' first job is to tidy the hive's nursery. She hauls away leftover bits, carts off old wax caps, and leaves each cell ready for a new bee egg. When she turns 3 days old, special glands behind her face swell and expand. Soon she's ready for her next job. Flying? Not yet. Nursing. The grub-like larvae get all her attention. She checks them, inspects them, feeds them a milky, sweet liquid made with those glands. On Apis' 8th day of life, she leaves the nursery. For flying? So this is what the larvae look like as they grow. Hard to believe that's going to be a bee. Not yet. Queen tending. Long and graceful, the queen glides across the combs. 2,000 times a day, the queen stops to drop a single egg into a single cell. Pearly white, half the size of a grain of rice. Each will grow into a bee. The queen doesn't have time to take care of herself, so Apis and the others groom her with their forelegs, examine her with their tongues, feed her a drop of sweet brewed food, worker mouth to queen mouth. And as they do, they pick up the queen's scent with their antennae, legs, and tongues. They pass this scent along to the rest of the nest, a message that the queen is healthy and safe. When Apis turns 12 days old, glands in her abdomen begin making flakes of white wax. It's time for her new job, flying. Now, do you notice anything about the queen? Here she is. She's bigger than the other bees. Not yet. Comb building. Using her wax, her sharp, spoon-shaped jaws, and her legs, she shapes, molds, maneuvers to create cells. But Apis is not a builder for long. 3 days later, she starts flying. So now she's making the cells where the eggs are laid. Not yet. Food handling. Apis stands in a soft honeycomb, waiting. A forager bee approaches, dusted with pollen and smelling of sunshine and fresh air. She is loaded with nectar. Food for the colony. Apis creeps toward her. Furry heads bump, and the forager brings up the nectar into her open mouth. Sticking out her straw-like tongue, Apis sips up the nectar. She folds and unfolds, folds and unfolds, folds and unfolds her mouth, until the nectar grows thicker and stickier. She stores the half-dried nectar in an empty cell. Over the next few days, it will ripen into honey. When Apis turns 18 days old, she's ready to start her life outside. Flying? So this is what's turning into honey. Not yet. Guarding. Against birds or bears and bees from other nests. Patrolling a tiny patch by the hive's entrance, Apis sniffs each incoming worker with her antennae. Friend or foe? 2 bees hover nearby. Apis bends her antenna towards them and tests the air. They do not smell like members of her colony. She stands on her hind legs. They do not act like colony members. Apis lets off an alarm scent to warn the others. Robber bees! They've come to steal honey from the nest. Apis flies herself at one of them. The 2 grab hold of each other's legs, and they curl their abdomens, and they roll and grapple. Apis buzzes, bites, burrows. She's willing to give up her life to protect her nest and its honey. She bites harder. Shaking her off, the robber flies away. See, I'm also learning new things. I did not know they did that. At last, on the 25th day of her life, with the sun just rising and the dew still drawing, she leaps from the nest and flies. Isn't that beautiful? And there she goes. Thousands of other bees rise from the nest too, first to orient themselves and then to forage for water or collect a sticky plant sap called propolis, a kind of bee glue, to gather pollen. And Apis, she is in search of sweet nectar. Her antenna tests the breeze. Milkweed, coneflower, clover. She can smell the sugary goodness inside their blossoms. Apis follows the floral odor for miles, wings beating 200 times a second until... 200 times a second, that's incredible. She circles down. She alights on a blossom. She scrambles over its petals, searching for nectar inside. Poking her long tongue deep inside the flower, she sips and swallows and skips to the next flower. The sugary fluid does not go into her belly. It goes into a special sac called a honey stomach. This is how Apis will carry her nectar home. And as she visits each flower, grains of pollen stick to her bushy body. They cling to her bristly legs. She carries this pollen from flower to flower, brushing it off, picking it up, and pollinating the field. At last, her honey stomach weighs almost as much as she does. Then, wings working hard, she flies back to the hive, where she gives up her nectar to a food handler. Now will she rest? I mean, it's incredible the amount of work these little ladies do. No, she will dance. Wagging her tail, Apis circles to the left, then to the right. She runs in a long straight line. Other bees gather around. They listen to the vibrations of her dance. Apis is giving directions. She is telling them the nectar is sweet. She is asking them to go there too. Soon a stream of bees head for her find. Apis makes 9 more trips that day, gathering, pollinating, before the sun finally sets and she can rest. Now, if they weren't doing that, the flowers wouldn't pollinate. And if you can think about what you see in the spring, there are flowers on trees before they fruit, like apple trees, peach trees, pear trees, and it's their job to pollinate these things for us. But she will go back tomorrow, and the day after that, and the day after that. She grows thinner and slower. She loses her hair. Her wings fray and tatter. Summertime bees do not live long, and Apis is now 35 days old. She has flown back and forth between nest and blossoms 500 miles in all. Wow. She has visited 30,000 flowers. She has collected enough nectar to make 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. Her work is done. So it takes a lot of work to make a jar of honey. A lot. On the morning Apis drops to the ground, the air is warm, the sun is rising, and the nectar is sweet. She rolls to her back, and her legs move limply. Her wings beat weakly. Above her, blossoms nod in the summer breeze, and Apis stills. Her life is short, but it's very productive. And back in the nest, a brand new honeybee squirms, pushes, chews through the wax cap of her solitary cell and into a teeming, trembling flurry. So the life cycle starts over again. So I can't read all this, it takes too long, but this is a diagram of the bee and all her body parts, the wings, the stinger, the legs, the mandibles, the proboscis, or proboscis, sorry, antenna, and eyes. And it tells you what each one does and how important they are. And here it tells you things you can do to help honeybees, because without them, we are going to be in big, big trouble. And one of the things you can do is not use toxins and poisons in your yard. That's a big start. That's something you can do. I thought it was important to read this because I love science and I love animals, and it takes all of us to take care of the earth. So this is called Honeybee, The Busy Life of Apis mellifera. I hope you enjoyed it. I did. Happy reading, friends.